Hi, I'm Miles Prado of the Values Partnership. Today I'm going to talk about active listening. It's part of Listening 3.0 in my series, When Leaders Listen, We Change Our World. With so much of our communication now online, the human element gets lost. But you see, we're not robots, right? And emojis and apps cannot replace human attention and dialogue. We've evolved over millions of years to understand each other through nonverbal cues. And reducing communication to a line in a chat leaves all sorts of room for mistakes and misunderstandings and frustration. So that's why we need to invest in communication. And a particular kind of communication psychologists call active listening. And that is simply listening with empathy. But I don't have time for that. It takes so much effort. Well, I understand, but I don't think we can afford not to listen with empathy these days. I mean, the great resignation is coming. People are going to be leaving their jobs in droves. By listening well to people, we're going to help them feel appreciated, encouraged, and when we listen really well, they're going to solve their own problems. See, given that so much of our work is about sharing information, interpreting information, and collaborating on problems, listening well builds understanding. It builds mutual respect. It helps us follow each other's thinking. So listening is crucial. Now, there's a very famous psychologist called Carl Rogers. He says this: when someone really hears you without passing judgment on you, without trying to take responsibility for you, without trying to mold you, it feels damn good. I love that. When I've been listened to and when I've been heard, I'm able to re-perceive my world in a new way and go on. It's astonishing how elements which seemed insoluble become soluble when someone listens. How confusions which seemed irremediable turn into relatively clear flowing streams when one is heard. So how do you listen actively? Well, number one, okay, you've got to be sincere in your body language and facial expressions, like, okay. Number two, you've got to be willing to be understanding, even if that person's hurt you or annoyed you. Number three, you've got to be willing to get into their world and really hear their point of view. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with them. It just means you have to be willing to put yourself in their shoes. And number four, occasionally repeat back to them what you think you've heard, using their words. And then if they say no, you've got to keep trying. I was consulting on a big construction project a while ago, and it was a year late and $1 billion over budget. And a new project director was appointed to turn things around. So I was asked to facilitate a meeting between him and the project manager who'd been there from the very start. And I just thought we'd do a little exercise, and the exercise was just to get each person to ask the other person or make a recommendation to the other person, say, this is what I'd like you to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing to make my work a lot easier. Okay, and they agreed to do that. So the project manager was going to start, and the project director, he agreed to listen with empathy. So the project manager started by saying, well, look, I'd like you to start by appreciating and valuing people. Okay? And I'd like you to stop interrupting meetings, and I'd like you to stop focusing on all the things that are going wrong. Okay? And I'd like you, most of all, I'd like you to stop constantly reminding us of how screwed up this project is. Well, you could cut the air with a knife. And to his credit, the project director, he leaned back, he smiled. You could tell that he got it. He said, I agree. And he did, and he kept his word, and everything changed after that. So I hope this has been helpful, and please try active listening, especially with someone you're stuck with. this repeating back what you think you've heard and seeing if it actually matches what they've said. So next video is about asking good questions. So see you then.